Greetings Neuro-Ninjas, let's talk about motivation and where motivation sits in the brain. So it sits just behind the forehead in the prefrontal cortex, and that is where motivation really exists as a skill. There are basically two sorts of motivation, which nobody ever really tells you about. So the two sorts of motivation that we've got are have to and want to motivation. Now, want to motivation is really easy. I want that cake. I want to play a computer game with my mates. That's really easy. It involves dopamine arriving in our emotion centers and us moving towards the thing we want. Have to motivation is much more difficult. Have to motivation is about dopamine moving through the emotional brain up into the prefrontal cortex. Have to motivation is focused on more distant goals. GCSE results, that apprenticeship, that place at college, that job that you want as a 25-year-old. So in order to build have to motivation, there's a series of activities we might need to engage in every day. Exercise helps us with our motivation and focus. Mindfulness, focusing on our breathing, helps build connections in our prefrontal cortex. Upsettingly, and maybe your parents should watch this little bit of the video, doing some household chores every day, 3 or 4 tasks that you don't want to do but have to do, whether it's walking the dogs, cleaning out the dishwasher, whatever it is, those have to tasks help get dopamine moving into the right situations in the brain. And also good sleep is helpful for motivation as well. And as much as possible, try and do the most difficult, complex things you have to do as early in the day as you can. Obviously school mops up a lot of the day, but when you first get home from school, in the evening, when you sit down to do your first Pomodoro, try and do that as early as possible in the evening, because your prefrontal cortex gets more fatigued as the evening progresses, and that's why our willpower collapses late into the evening.